All right, good morning, everybody okay? Everybody set? Appreciate it. I know it's a little bit hot out here. Figured this was a little bit more appropriate given the physical distancing that we're all trying to recognize and getting outside of headquarters. Haven't seen a lot of you in a long time, and it's a shame that we've got to get together, reconvene after a night like we had last night in West Charlotte. A lot of you know, if you don't, 1800 block of Beatty's Ford Road last night had a significant incident that developed. When the smoke cleared, you had 9 people that were shot, 5 people who were hit by cars that were taking off from the scene after a street gathering that had developed out there. I'm going to introduce Deputy Chief Gerald Smith. He's going to kind of walk you through some of the circumstances, give you a little bit of an update, and do his level best to answer some questions that anyone may have this morning. You're also going to get a video attached to a press release that'll be coming out at the conclusion of this morning. Many of you probably have seen it already. It was a video that was surfacing on Facebook earlier that really captured some of the situation that developed out there. Can't see much, but you could sure as hell hear a hell of a lot. And you will hear a barrage of gunfire out there, just to give you an idea of just the level, the magnitude of violence that erupted out there in West Charlotte tonight. Not putting it out there to sensationalize by any stretch. More importantly, we are pretty fairly convinced that there's others out there in the community that have similar video. We highly encourage anyone who may have any video, audio, anything, images that they've captured out there last night on Beatty's Ford to please send those videos our way so our detectives can work to get this case resolved. All right, without further delay, Deputy Chief Gerald Smith.
As Rob said, I am Deputy Chief Gerald Smith. I am the Deputy Chief over the Investigative Services Group here at CMPD. To pick up from where Rob has left off, he's asking for videos. I'm asking that if anyone who was out there, and we estimate the crowd to be somewhere around 400, who saw anything at all, to come forth. We're talking about 9 people, 2 are dead. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that there are 3 right now who are fighting for their lives, and at least 4 others who were shot last night on Beatty's Ford Road at one incident. This incident goes back to the Juneteenth celebration that was on Friday, and there was a group of individuals who stayed over from an officials group that was doing a march through the neighborhood, and then unorganized. They gathered there at Beatty's Ford Road close to Catherine Simmons, and they continued the celebration there. During that celebration that was completely unorganized, it ended when there was gunfire. No one was struck, no one was injured. That's been reported to us, and the crowd dissipated, left on its own on Friday night. From social media, we gathered that on Saturday there was a part 2. The Juneteenth celebration, day 2, is what we saw. That occurred on social media, and we had another group also gathered out there on Saturday night. One of the differences there is that vehicles were added to the mix, and it became a little dangerous. So police, we actually did what we could to assist. We actually blocked off the road and only allowed elements of vehicles to leave that area. Once they did that, in all actuality, the group had to run to the street. There were no problems until our officers got pulled away, more pressing calls. And as they left, then the normal flow of traffic came through and the crowd dissipated on its own. Last night is when things went really bad. About 10 o'clock, between 10 and 11 o'clock, the crowd went from 200 to 400. And at some point in time, a female was struck by a car, hit and run. That's one of the 5 people who were struck by cars that Rob mentioned. The ambulance came in, and there's video out there that we're going to release about that you're going to see. And as the ambulance rolled in, you can hear the shots ring out. Those shots are ringing out. Officers and fire also go on a call of hit and run because of the injury. The officers who were on scene went into action to secure the scene, to locate anyone who may have been shooting, to also to treat the injured. The fire department was there doing everything that they can, and it became very quickly to first responders on the scene that this was a mass casualty incident. There's no other way. It is a mass casualty incident. And as we are trying to make sense out of it, take control of the scene, officers that sometimes, and there are videos out there, you can see officers with their guns out, officers with patrol rifles, doing everything that they can to take control of the scene to make sense so that people can get the care that they needed. At one time, we had to pull individuals off the backs of our firefighters. We also had to come up with a rescue team at one time to go get our firefighters so that they can continue to treat a patient who was fighting for their life in order so that patient can get to the ambulance to get them to the hospital. It was a very, very chaotic scene. There's just no other way to put it, and I commend all the first responders who are out there and did the best that they can. What is very, very disappointing to me is that we know the videos out there, and we can find it here or there on social media, is that we're talking about 400 people in one spot, not one witness. We have not one. No one came up to us. We're still processing the scene, but it's not too late in order, if you really want to make a difference and really want to say what happened. If you care about the victims, their families, their friends, then come forth. If you even care about just being able to have a celebration without gunfire, come forth and tell us what you've seen. You can call our Crime Stoppers unit or call homicide or come down to the station. We'll take that information as we can. And speaking to the commander over that division, the Metro Division, he has assured us that tonight along Beatty'sford Road it will look much different. You will see a heavy presence of officers along that street. We're going to do everything that we can to make sure that the peace remains the peace. Also, I am part of the violent crime reduction effort, and it's only I'm only part of that initiative. I am part of the police department, but it's part of the city, it's part of the county, and as you know, Beatty'sford Road and Catherine Simmons is part of that initiative, and that is an area of concern in which we're doing. Speaking to the partners that I have and that everyone who's working on this event and trying to do everything that we can, and we know that COVID kind of like put that off to the side, not put it off to the side, but interrupted the flow of that. They are 100% committed to actually moving that forward as fast and as much as we can right now, and hopefully by the beginning of next month we will have even more information or be further along in that initiative as we go. So at this point in time, I will take questions.
Gerald, where are we with investigation? Shooters, you said no witnesses. Do we have any idea?
We have no witnesses that have come forward. I'm pretty sure someone saw it. 400 people there, someone saw something that can come forward. Where we are right now, it is a very, very big scene. I just talked to the lieutenant. He is still out there on scene doing everything that he can to process it. It's such a large scene. So that's where we are right now. We have our other detectives going through as much social media as they can, trying to see what video is actually good or good for the evidence, and then tracking that down as much as we can. So right now, our guys haven't been asleep for a while, so we are full blown in the middle of the investigation right now. Yeah.
Chief, have you been able to figure out what started the shooting?
No, and that is one reason why witnesses. There could be a witness out there that could tell us that, hey, the motive for this is this. We have no idea. We have no idea. We have a Juneteenth continuation of a Juneteenth celebration, in which someone just decided to shoot several times into over 100 rounds into a crowd that we can gather at this time. We believe right now over 100 rounds. There are so many casings out there. That's why this scene has taken a long time to process. Yes, it's very, very discouraging, very, very concerning.
Can the investigation tell you if it's one shooter or was it multiple shooters?
If you listen to that and watch that video, you can hear several different caliber weapons going off, and we don't know. We don't know. It's such a massive scene, it's going to take us a while to process it. That's why witnesses are so important at this time.
Do you know if people were run over as they were trying to escape, or were they targeted as they were running?
I believe Rob said that there were 5 people who actually were struck by vehicles. That also includes the young lady who was hit prior to the shooting starting.
Some of the Facebook posts have showed the officers with rifles pointing at the scene, and some people said they felt frightened. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with them in trying to take control of that scene. They were doing the best that they can to make sense out of something that is chaotic, a mass casualty scene. I would say that if someone was in fear because of that officer trying to take control of the scene, they should ask the victims who were laying there bleeding how much in fear were they. Quite a bit. The officers were doing what they could to take control in order for people who were fighting for their lives in order so they can get help.
You said there was a rescue team that went in with firefighters as they tried to
No, ma'am.
render aid?
Because the scene was so chaotic, our police officers gathered up a rescue team to go in to remove people off the backs of our firefighters so they could actually provide care to a patient and get that patient out of there. That's how chaotic it was. The firefighters could not do their job.
Okay, so the firefighters were removed, so the police can go in.
No, the police went in to get the firefighters out.
Got it.
They were caring for a patient.
So you mentioned that this was a part 2 of the.
This is part 3.
It was a part.
Yeah.
Part 3. So one of the city council members said that this was quote an unsanctioned.
Yeah.
event.
Yeah.
So
Let me.
I guess trying to disassociate it from Friday's peaceful, and then this was something that was unsanctioned.
100%. 100%. That city council person is 100% correct. The event that started on Friday day during the daytime was put together by University Park Neighborhood Association, and I can tell you this, that their planning goes back to January, to the beginning of the year for this celebration. It was very organized. It was very peaceful. It was very productive. It was a great event, and that event ended, and then this unsanctioned portion that has nothing to do with University Park, their great event, this is where it started, and they started on their own. So it's completely unsanctioned, completely unorganized by any group or individual. Yes, sir.
I know you said Friday there was a shooting and no one was hurt, and Saturday was fine, and then Sunday this happened. I guess, have you guys, given what's been going on in the city and community relations, have you kind of had to tiptoe around how you respond to these unsanctioned events, and do you feel like this is why that may have happened because you guys were here?
I don't believe we're going to tiptoe around anything. I believe that our police department is a very good police department. Our leadership is very good. I don't see why we would have to tiptoe around the celebration. We are aware of everything that's happening nationally, but we are also aware that there are those people who call 911 and who need us. There are people who still need first responders and request first responders.
I guess what I'm saying is you're aware that there's people that probably don't want you guys there, but you're still going to be there if they don't want you there.
The people want us there, yes, we will be there.
Did any officers need to fire their weapons?
Did you say there was a police presence in part 3 earlier?
No,
No, it was not.
that was not. The police presence came in after the hit and run where the female was struck by a vehicle.
So when you all rethink Deputy Chief, I know you said there was a period where you all had blocked off Beatty Ford and to allow people to gather in the street. Maybe will we not see that happen with similar events?
We would have to take that event by event, but I believe that police presence is also needed at large events like this as well too. Although that was day 2, and that blocking off the street went fine. And once our vehicles left and the normal traffic flow went up Beatty Ford Road, the crowd left. So.
Anybody else? Thank you, Chiefs. Okay.
There's been calls from the community to defund police. We've seen that last couple of weeks. Safe Coalition now talking about having to re-energize this money to the police department to stop gun violence and shootings in our community. If it happens that the police department here gets defunded, what happens to the response for violence that we've seen in Charlotte a lot?
I have no idea. It goes down, I guess, but that defunding of the police is not a topic of this particular presser, but it is just a question for the people to answer.
Thank you, Chief Smith.
Okay? All right.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
good.
follow up.
Yeah. Good to see everybody instead of telling actually people in person.
Charles,
All right.
stay safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just to dovetail a little bit off of Chief Smith, we'll have that video that goes out in the foreseeable future. Check inboxes, press release, any updates that are related to this, you'll also get those via your inbox. And if anything reaches the magnitude of calling another additional press conference, we'll be sure to give everyone advance heads up. Appreciate it. I know it was hot out here, and we're just doing our best to try to bring everyone together and get off the virtual stuff. Anything that we need to address offline, just see me offline, and we'll be happy to take care of that. Thanks, guys.
Are you all still on scene there?
Yes.